Welcome to First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis, the birthplace of Congregational Humanism. We carry on that tradition of free thought today, dedicated to promoting a free search for truth, meaning, and justice. Our web address is firstunitarian.org. I'm David Breeden, Senior Minister. Welcome.
Welcome, everyone, as we gather at our customary hour in this virtual space. Welcome to each of you. No matter where your life has taken you, you are welcome here. And whether you've been with us many times or this is your first visit, we are glad you are part of our gathered community. And to strengthen our community, we invite everyone to connect this morning. Interacting in the chat during assembly is encouraged, and we invite you to stop by our Zoom coffee hour immediately following assembly. The link to coffee hour will be available in the chat, and it can also be found in the Friday email. That Friday update contains detailed information about all of our upcoming programs during this holiday season. And if you're new to FUS, you are warmly invited to join Rev Kelly at noon today for our Welcome to FUS program. It's an informal Zoom gathering for you to learn more about our congregation and to meet other newcomers and a minister or two. We'll post the link in the chat. Our monthly theme for December is Stillness, and this morning we start with a short quote from the poetry of Mary Oliver. She offers this reflection on stillness. I'm taking the day off, quiet as a feather. I hardly move, though really I'm traveling a terrific distance. Stillness, one of the doors into the temple. Come, let us gather in community.
Good morning. I'm Allison Wyeth, Director of Religious Education for First Unitarian Society, and I'm really pleased to be with you this morning. Let's give our kids and youth a moment to get gathered around close so we can all enjoy the time for all ages. Today, the message of the Assembly is focused on what it means to be a member of the FUS community. And I want to make sure my young friends have a special introduction to that idea. As a youth in this congregation, you might have heard here and there about official responsibilities and rights that adult members have. But there are other rights and responsibilities that everyone in the congregation has, no matter how young or how old we might be. And one of the most critical of those is creating a community where we make room for all, where we care for each other and are cared for. That's pretty easy to say, but I bet you'd like a little more explanation. Well, let me share with you a really great book that does just that. Intersection Allies, We Make Room for All by Chelsea Johnson, Latoya Council, and Carolyn Choi. Witness the lives of a bold group of friends. If one is in need, another defends. Age is one trait that each of them share, but kids' lives are unique, as you'll soon be aware. Each child has a story and their own point of view, filled with passion and power, just like you. My name is Alejandra, but I go by Allie. I use a chair, but it doesn't define me. Instead, it allows me to zip, glide, and play. When I need to get through, friends help make a way. Where there's room for some, we make room for all. Friends can be allies, no matter how small. Hello, I'm Parker. After school every day, Allie's family takes care of us both while we play. My mom works hard to provide for me. Her love's the source of our stability. Not toys or money or treasures untold, community care is more precious than gold. Skirts and frills are cute, I suppose, but my superhero cape is more Kate than those bows. Some may be confused that a kid like me can wear what I want and be proud and carefree. My friends defend my choices in place. A bathroom, like all rooms, should be a safe space. My name is Adila, and just like Kate, what I wear inspires endless debate. Some give, some chant, some sing, some pray. My hijab is my choice. You can choose your own way. The clothes you wear never justify hatred. Clothes can be playful, simple, or sacred. Covered, adorned, or with casual flair, my body's my own. I dress it with care. My name is Nia, and with what's on the news, it's easy to be frightened or sing the blues. For her, for him, and for me. We all deserve to breathe and be free. The color of our skin is no reason to hide. We protest for safety, equality, and pride. Our friends join along in solidarity and love. This is the stuff that allies are made of. Safety also includes our trees and air, the land we've called home, our places of prayer. I am Dakota, and like my ancestors, my tribe and I are water protectors. From profit and power, we stand up to preserve our nations, our cultures, and the respect we deserve. My name is Gloria, y tengo 7 años. After school, to la frutería I go. Trabajo cada día junto a mi madre. Vendemos piña dulce y mangos con chile. My language and savvy allow us to thrive. I've got hopes and dreams and skills and drive. Working together makes us both more secure. I'm a daughter, a partner, and an entrepreneur. My name is Hee Jung, and I was born in Seoul. I moved here when I was 5 years old. I'm part of what's called the 1.5 generation. My parents and I span 2 different nations. Like Gloria, I'm a help to my mother by translating for her one word to another. We navigate life in our new home together because kids have the skills to make every day better. My name is Yuri, and I'm new to this place. Hee Jung's family welcomed me with love and with grace. Finding refuge meant traveling far from home. I sailed, flew, I rode and I roamed. Escaping violence, war, heartache, and intrusion, we came to this nation seeking dreams and inclusion. From near, from far, from there, we're more than our origins. We all deserve care. Race, religion, citizenship, class, and ability, each of these intersects to form identity. Age, gender, size, and skin color too can make living life different for a friend than for you. Barriers and biases are often to blame. We strive to be equal, but not all the same. Life's ups and downs can take many forms, but supporting each other, we'll rewrite the norms. When there's room for some, we make room for all. Friends can be allies, no matter how small. So there you go. Some examples of the ways that folks with all different kinds of identities are part of the whole, and ways that we can seek out care and demonstrate our care for others to find and be allies. Let me leave you with a couple of questions to consider today. What are some ways that you can demonstrate your care for all in our beloved community? And what kind of particular care and support can you seek from this community you call home?
Each week when we gather, we light our chalice and share one of the 7 principles of Unitarian Universalism, or one of the aspirations of our congregation. This week we light the chalice remembering the 2nd principle: justice, equity, and compassion in human relations.
Now for our congregational covenant. Love is the spirit of this place, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the one to tend these vibes. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive in this great turning. We shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by ones who circle round to tend these vibes. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive in this great turning. We shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love.
On Sundays when we gather, we take a few minutes to reflect on the joys, sorrows, and milestones of the human experience. We do this so that we stay in touch with our own humanity. We do this to remind ourselves of the value of a moment of stillness. And we do this so that no one among us is alone, either in celebrating joy or in facing the burdens of life. This week, we simply take a moment of silence to pause and breathe as we navigate all the challenges and heartbreak going on in our lives and across our country. There is so much weighing on our hearts and minds. And we think with gratitude of those who are leading lives of justice, service, and compassion, including those who are taking risks to speak up for our democracy, and those who are risking their health and even their lives to care for the sick right now. We are grateful for all those who are doing good work in these tough times. Let us now share a moment of silence.
After more than a century practicing congregational humanism and bridging the gap between the religious and secular worlds, First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis is still unique in our pursuit of a community that values and promotes the open-eyed and evidence-based free exchange of often dangerous ideas. Join us as we continue the search for truth, meaning, and justice, and help keep the voice of Unitarian Universalist humanism loud and strong by considering a gift. You can find us on PayPal, the Give Plus app, or firstunitarian.org/donate. Thank you.
FUS continues to welcome new members and friends during the pandemic. Our online format allows folks to join us who otherwise might not be able to do so. Here then is our virtual new member ceremony.
As we welcome our new members to the First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis, let us begin with these wise words from the Reverend Dr. William Schultz, former president of the Unitarian Universalist Association.
This is the mission of our faith, to teach the fragile art of hospitality, to revere both the critical mind and the generous heart, to prove that diversity need not mean divisiveness, and to witness to all that we must hold the whole world in our hands. FUS Board Chair Shelley Schreffler speaks for our congregation.
We joyfully welcome you into our congregation and gratefully acknowledge your choice to join us. May you find among us fellowship and help in time of need. We pledge our support and our encouragement as you join us in our search for truth and meaning and our striving toward justice.
We come into this congregation aware of the privileges and responsibilities of membership.
We bring our talents and our enthusiasm, our shortcomings and our doubts, our gifts and our hopes.
We join this congregation, celebrating freedom of conscience and working for justice and peace.
We rejoice in the promise of new connections. May those who share this journey with us always find a loving community here.
Into this community, these new members are now enfolded. May this congregation nurture and challenge them, offering comfort and guidance and calling forth the best within them. May they in turn bring energy, vision, and laughter, that this may become ever more fully the community it strives to be.
Let us now close by reading the aspirations of the First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis.
We aspire to live joyfully and ethically in loving, reverent relationship with humanity and nature.
Pursue wisdom through reason, science, art, and the stories of civilizations.
Make the change we need for a more just, compassionate, and peaceful world.
Support one another's journey toward meaning and connection in the here and now.
We hope that all FUS members and friends will take time to greet these new members in our community. Andrea and Jack Steinagel, Sharon Zingery, Anthony Cruz, Delaney Anderson, Caden Colton, and Tom Hart. Please join me in welcoming these new members.
Hey. Yeah. All right.
Woohoo! Yay! Unitarian Universalist Minister Wayne Arneson wrote this: "We come together today seeking a reality beyond our narrow selves that binds us in compassion, love, and understanding to other human beings and to the interdependent web of all living things. May our hearts and minds be open to the power and the insight that weave together the scattered threads of our experience and help us remember the wholeness of which we are a part." Our theme this month is Stillness, and While that may reflect a season that many people in our community celebrate as Advent, maybe some of us, others observe as the festival of lights that is Hanukkah. Others await the return to longer days beginning ever so slowly at the winter solstice. Stillness depends on how we look at it. When sitting still in a dark house looking at the lights on our Christmas tree or Hanukkah bush, if you like, I can look still on the outside but still be churning inside. Likewise, if I see you in a dither, that may or may not be your outsides talking. You may be perfectly calm inside. I've been thinking about this inside-outside view of our congregation at First Unitarian Society in this strange COVID time. On March 15th, that was the first Sunday that we didn't meet in the sanctuary. In the assembly hall, sorry. We went inside and we learned to Zoom. All of you gathered here, whether it's your first time or you've been with us many times, you've learned to join this assembly from our distant places in Zoom. We learned a new thing and we haven't been back since, but we will. So on the outside, our building seems like it's quiet and things are not meeting as they were. It seems perhaps a little still, but there is so much motion happening. There is so much going on. We are not marking time. So I thought I'd tell you a little bit of what all is going on. If you read your Friday email and monthly newsletter, you know all this stuff. And if you don't, this is where you find the information. In all of our programming, we have things that are going on. I want to just lift up religious education, where Allison Wyeth, who read that great book earlier, has adapted a program that is very much a face-to-face program to meet the needs of our young people who are zoomed out. And Allison is creating ways for our young people to continue to connect, even if they're not meeting face-to-face every week. Some of them are, some of them are not, but we still hold them in this community. And Allison is finding really creative ways to do that. You know that our adult learning and growth has these two really terrific programs that David is leading. Coffee and Wisdom every weekday morning, and I understand that there's a cohort of people that just show up nearly every day to that, to start your day with some intellectual good fodder for the day and ways to think about the world that give you something to kind of chew on. And then on Wednesday evening, there's Bibles and beer and coffee not required. But new ways for us to engage with ancient texts and find new ways to suss out meaning there. Our knitting group is online. We have a writing group that's been meeting online. We have our Watching Race film series that's been meeting online. Obviously, we have new members who were able to join through our Pathway to Membership is all online. Our Active Voices continue to meet every week and put out the messages. Our climate justice team is working on a new online presentation for sometime around Earth Day. We've got resource lists from both our climate justice team and our Moving Toward Equity team. The gallery, our art gallery, has a beautiful online space. It's so much fun to take a tour around the work that they've put in that online gallery. Our music program, that one's a little bit harder to connect, but I understand that the choir and people who sing together are having Zoom meetings just to connect. And we've been able to find all this other music to come to us in the interim while we don't have our choir and individuals. And we still get to hear Tim and other people that are beloved to us. And of course, Barb. Our board and our foundation continue to meet and do the work of the congregation. Our seasonal celebrations team is meeting. Next week is the winter solstice. The winter solstice revels will not be denied. So I hope you've seen the information for that, and you can participate in that online as well. We keep paying our pledges. And here's what's actually physically happening in the building. One is that the Love Works Academy, our tenants, are so thrilled to be in our space. It suits them well, and they've been able to really make a home there. And it's been kind of great that we haven't had to jockey for position. It's going to work out beautifully when we are back in the building, but they're really feeling very much at home there. And as you know, we were able to partner with them with our Operation Share the Warmth, get coats to almost all of the children in the school. And in January, we'll be working on hats and gloves. I know some of you have already reached out to me about that. And here's what else is really exciting. A tech team, both volunteers and staff, are upgrading the technology in our upper assembly hall so that those of you who are joining us from afar will be able to be continued. You will be able to continue joining us once we are back in the building. After we've all got a shot in our arm and we're able to be back in the building, some of you from afar, we want you still to be a part of this congregation. We are a stronger, more vital congregation because you are here with us. And we are putting the tech into the upper assembly hall so that that can happen, also making that space more accessible. It's really thrilling that we are not standing still. We are moving forward. Here's what our Wikipedia page says about FUS. Did you know that there's a Wikipedia page on the history of First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis? Look it up. In the 1870s, the Minneapolis chapter of the National Liberal League began meeting to discuss the ideas of geologist Charles Lyell and naturalist Charles Darwin. Upon hearing a visiting Unitarian minister, Henry Simmons, lecture, 18 members of the Liberal League voted to incorporate as a Unitarian congregation on November 18th, 1881, so that Simmons could join them in Minneapolis. The Articles of Incorporation define the society's purpose as to form an association where people without regard to theological difference may unite for mutual helpfulness in intellectual, moral, and religious culture and humane work. When John Dietrich came here as minister in 1916, he articulated a new theology, religious humanism, which he defined as belief and trust in human effort. And while Dietrich didn't reject theism, he found no evidence for God and proposed a new way of doing church, a new way to be a congregation, to do good without God. Okay, here's a nutshell history of the Unitarians and the Universalists, both founded as breakaway sects of the Protestant and colonial experience in North America. The Unitarians could find no evidence of the Trinity in Scripture, and they said, look, we read Scriptures as we read any other book, critically and historically. It has to mean what it says, and we take the meaning from what it says, not from tradition that's been laid on top of it. We look for facts and evidence in other places as well, like in the sciences, including social science. The Universalists, in reaction to the Calvinist doctrine of eternal punishment, believed in universal salvation. They were early proponents of abolition and the ordination of women. If everyone is saved, everyone is good enough now. The joke was that California statesman Thomas Starr King made was that the Universalists thought that God was too good to damn them, and the Unitarians thought that people were too good to be damned by God. Both religions, in fact, embraced everyone, all comers, and this eventually became central to the belief that lasting truth is found in all religions, and that dignity and worth are innate to all people, regardless of sex, color, race, or class. This idea that truth, some kernel of truth is found in all religions still lives with us today, that each of us has a piece of the truth. This inclusive theology naturally leads to the lasting impetus in both denominations to create a more just society, the Unitarians and the Universalists. In 1961, they merged into one movement, the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations, sometimes abbreviated as UUA. So FUS holds two complementary identities, UU and humanist. Some UUs are more theist than many of us might understand ourselves to be. And in places where there's only one or maybe two Unitarian Universalist congregations, humanists and theists and atheists and neo-pagans all sit side by side, and perhaps they rub the pointy edges off of each other. Here in the Twin Cities, where there are several Unitarian Universalist congregations, large and small, we are the most identity-based of all of those congregations as humanists. Unitarian Universalist congregations affirm and promote the 7 principles, which we hold as strong values and moral guides. One distinct difference between Unitarian Universalism and many other Christian denominations, not all, but many, is that we are covenantal, not creedal. Some of you have been in Christian churches, were raised in various Christian churches, both perhaps Protestant or Catholic, where you said a creed on Sunday mornings, the Apostles' Creed or the Nicene Creed. We believe so-and-so, and anyone who says we believe so-and-so is in. In Unitarian Universalism, we are covenantal. We believe it is more important how we behave with each other than what we say we believe. Our 7 principles are not a creed. They are values statements that we say we affirm and promote. We live out these principles within a living tradition of wisdom and spirituality drawn from sources as diverse as science, poetry, scripture, and personal experiences. I'm going to read the 7 principles to you. Many of you know them. We often say one of the 7 principles when we light our chalice on Sunday morning. Sometimes we say our aspirations of this society, but here are the 7 principles. We affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, acceptance of one another, and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and within society at large, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all, and respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Those were first articulated in 1960 in preparation for the merger, and then revisited in 1984 to add the seventh principle, to add the interdependent web to the seven principles. In 2013, a woman named Paula Cole Jones, who is an activist and was a member of the UUA regional staff, said, you know, you could be fully immersed in those seven principles, really living your life based on those values, and never have to negotiate with systemic racism. Certainly we talk about justice, equity, and compassion. Certainly we talk about the worth and dignity of every person, but we never have to negotiate with systemic racism. And to that end, Ms. Jones proposed the eighth principle. Now, if you read my newsletter article, you know that the eighth principle is pretty wordy. It's a little bit clunky language. And yet, congregations all across the UUA are working to affirm this idea so that we can, in the next couple of year cycle, have an eighth principle added to that list of seven principles. Here's how it goes at the moment. We covenant to affirm and promote journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions. Journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions. Our Moving Toward Equity team at FUS has taken on adoption of the eighth principle as a project that we want to lead First Unitarian Society through in this program year. We are not sitting still. We are not marking time. We are moving forward. Ms. Jones is coming here for a workshop in March, a virtual workshop. She'll be with us virtually, of course, sponsored by our Moving Toward Equity team. And please look out for more information coming for that. I think the date is March 13th, but we'll be talking about how we can be involved in that. She's been working with congregations all across the country to do this. And our goal is to get a proposal to adopt support for the eighth principle, the idea, and not getting hung up on the wording, at our annual meeting in May. So to that end, members of the Moving Toward Equity team, especially Sue Blackwell and myself, will be meeting with those various groups that we were talking about. Look for us to talk about this in the knitting group, and we're talking about it with one of the RE groups today, and perhaps with the music or the gallery, or all of the various ways that we are First Unitarian Society. We want to talk about what your questions are and how we move this forward. It's one thing to get it adopted. That's probably the easy part. Living into it to accountably dismantle racism is the next leap and a big journey. And we don't have to take it all that bite at once, but we're taking our steps toward that. Our membership matters. Our membership in the Unitarian Universalist Association matters so that we have a seat at the table to help move this process forward in a national way. And to these new members, you new members who have just joined, you have a seat at the table to vote on this proposal at our annual meeting in May. You are joining something that is a part of something larger, a congregation that helps us individually get out of our self-centeredness and connect to the greater work in the world. You are joining, and for all of us gathered here today, you are a part of the vision of the founders 140 years ago who believed that we could learn together who we are in the face of radical and dangerous ideas. Even though our building, even though our congregation seems to be in stillness in this strange year, nothing could be further from the truth. We continue to lift each other up, to teach, to learn, to reach out, to do the work of justice. We are alive, and in this great turning, we learn to lead in love.
Join me from home in our extinguishing the chalice words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. All of these we carry in our hearts and in our minds until we are together again.
I'm gonna lift my sister up, she is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sister up, she is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my sister up, she is not heavy. If I don't lift her up, I will fall down. I'm gonna lift my brother up, he is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my brother up, he is not heavy. I'm gonna lift my brother up, he is not heavy. If I don't lift him up, I will fall down. I'm gonna lift my people up, they are not heavy. I'm gonna lift my people up, they are not heavy. I'm gonna lift my people up, they are not heavy. If I don't lift them up, if I don't lift them up, if I don't lift them up, I will fall down. If I don't lift them up, if I don't lift them up, if I don't lift them up, I will fall down.
Thanks so much for joining us today, and thanks to Rev Kelly for summarizing a good deal of information there. It's a storied past, and thanks so much for joining in, our new members, to our story that keeps going. The words of the Unitarian abolitionist and transcendentalist minister Theodore Parker, I think, well summarizes the hope and aspirations of naturalistic, humanistic people who love evidence and art and doing good works. It goes like this. Be ours a religion which, like sunshine, goes everywhere. Its temple, all space. Its shrine, the good heart. Its creed, all truth. Its ritual, works of love. Its profession of faith, divine living. So may it be. Thanks for listening. You can find much more about humanism and what's happening at First Unitarian Society in Minneapolis by visiting our website at firstunitarian.org.